How's it going? Look, we've had a great September. Fraud month has come to a close, and we're here to reflect a little bit on how that went. Of course, we had some great partners with us to provide us with some fantastic insights, trends within the industry, and also some best practices on how to prevent fraud, and at least going forward. Now, just to recap those 5 webinars we did, one was the global travel fraud trends to watch, which Perseus did with us, and Mr. W presented. Closing the loop, managing travel fraud in chaotic times. Of course, Chargebacks 911 partnered there with us, and we had some good insights from them. Then we had what travel professionals need to know about fraud during COVID-19. You and I did, together with Jennifer Watkins, and the battle against fraud, payment managers versus criminal markets. Of course, WorldPay with Tony Ash presenting that one out for us, and then your good mate from NCFTA giving us some insights from the dark web. So just looking back, what would you say are some of the main events or key takeaways we can reflect on here today?
Thanks, Cornelius. Yeah, I thought the webinar series was another outstanding, webinar for the industry. One of the big takeaways was how COVID-19 has changed everything for us, from the front end on payments to the back end with chargebacks, to the cataclysmic drop in overall travel, to in fact how COVID has impacted the fraudsters who operate on the dark net. So everybody in the chain has been negatively impacted. So that is, of course, unprecedented times. I was still in the industry during the 9/11.
Right.
That was, as horrible as that was.
It was a bit more isolated, right? 9/11 was a little bit more isolated compared to what we're experiencing now on a global level.
Yeah, where in fact, the entire world stopped traveling for the most part, as opposed to, just mostly the U.S. was impacted in 9/11. So we're definitely, we're still in unprecedented times.
Yeah.
So that impact of COVID, and number 2 is definitely collaboration. The theme of every webinar that we did was about working with others who are being impacted by this, whether it's how to deal with chargebacks, how to deal with payments, and even how we deal with the fraudsters. How do we combat that? That is through collaboration. So those were some of the big themes.
Yeah, around that piece of collaboration, I think it was clear in the webinar you and I did together with Jen, and sort of maybe reflected on a little bit by 9/11. Chargeback 9/11, sorry, about the double dipping or double refund issues we are experiencing in the industry right now. I think collaboration, communication in that environment is absolutely fundamental to ensure that the airline knows what the agent has done, the agent knows what the airline has done, and the banks know, the consumer knows, et cetera, et cetera. That whole value chain is informed about what's going on, so that the consumer doesn't trigger a chargeback when a refund is potentially being processed or being looked at being processed by the airline, and or future date travel was offered or coupon was offered to the traveler, and for some reason they don't want it anymore, and now they're generating a chargeback. I think that need for communication is essential.
Yeah, and that was really tough early on, as of course there's been no there's no game plan for how the industry would handle a complete, or a 90% shutdown of the industry. So it created a lot of challenges. Customers wanted to know, am I going to get my money back? I paid for this flight, I want my money back. And, sometimes airlines were rolling out multiple versions or updates to their refund policy. But this is one of the key takeaways from Chargebacks 9/11 was agencies need to be contacting their customers. Let them know what's going on. Like, okay, as if you requested a refund, we've reached out to, we're processing the refund. It might take a little bit of time. Please, keep that that open communication back and forth, so that your customer knows what to expect. That was the key takeaway with Chargebacks 911.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
important.
that was essential. And then, of course, the policy changes. No one could foresee that. This was going to complete a total global shutdown on travel. I mean, ARC processed something like $1 billion in refunds. Transactions going the wrong way, and that is very unusual for everyone to deal with. And unfortunately, airlines had to make decisions to benefit their business and keep them going forward. And it's unusual, definitely unusual times. And they did the best they could and did the best for their business as needed. And communication is just key. Communication with your customer is key, and being in touch with your airline partners, fundamental. We've also looked a little bit at some of the data from both the ARC and the Boston Consulting Group, which is available on our website under the Recovery Insights portal. There's some good trends there and some good recovery trends, and we see there really that Europe and Southeast Asia has seen some good initial recovery. We get some good data there on that. But together with that, of course, we see fraud as well. So the minute you see travel coming back online, we're going to see fraud. And so what do you see right now?
Yeah, what was interesting is we started out 2020 in January and February. The team was really digging into a lot. I know that we in the first couple of months were able to stop over $200,000 in real losses, where we were able to intervene with the travel agency and say, hey, you're not dealing with who you think you're dealing with. And we were able to get tickets voided so that it wouldn't even cause a chargeback. So those were hard dollar savings, plus the fact that just by contacting them, we cut off, or we severed the communication between the fraudster and the agency, so that the 200,000 didn't grow into 800,000 or 1.2 million. So those were real beneficial things that were going on early on. But of course,
during
then
COVID
changed everything.
The analysts complained. There's like, we've got nothing to do.
They were able to expand their search areas into new areas, but simply, everyone, 90+% of travel ceased to happen in those early weeks. But we did start to notice by late June into July, slowly they're returning. So they've been out there the last couple of months. It's starting to pick up steam again. People are more comfortable. More people are traveling, and everyone's got to be prepared.
Absolutely. I mean, we see it. We just got a report in last night from one of our partners, and it's highlighted there as travel is recovering. So are the fraud markets. So are the dark web markets. Fraudulent travel is on the rise. People are imitating host sites, for bookings, stay for bookings, hotel bookings, alternative vacation stay rentals, etc., and conducting fraud on that way. It looks like a legitimate booking, but it's a fraudulent booking with fraudulent payment information, etc. And the industry is now needs to get ready for this wave as we start recovering as an industry, and be aware of what's happening out there, especially on fraud. I think there's going to be a lot of special deals out there. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be creating new business or driving business to our agencies and our airlines. But it's worthwhile double checking it. I know it's been a bit of a low period for everyone, and everybody is eager to drive new business, but awareness is key, and being vigilant and collaborate, sharing information is also going to be fundamental going forward, especially as we might see new types of fraud entering our segment, together with the traditional types of fraud that we've seen historically.
Yeah, it's definitely, we've got to be prepared. Thinking back to all the criminals operating on these forums in the darknet, the data breaches continue. So they continue to harvest new compromised credit card data. They're going to be very eager to sell that. There's even on some of these forums, there's tutorials of how to commit credit card fraud. What are the best practices in effect of how to commit fraud, who to target, who not to target,
Right.
things like that. And that's kind of, it's a scary thing that this is happening on these underground forums is criminals share information, share best practices, share compromised data, or sell it to each other.
Right.
And we also need to think about the ransomware issue.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
We know that one of our biggest customers just publicly announced that they were hit with ransomware, and they paid about $4.5 million to recover their access to their sets. So that's the type of thing that's going on the underground internet. It's very tough stuff, but we've got to, no matter what, we got to be prepared for it.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. I think it was a great month, September, and of course, all of our webinars are going to be available on rcorp.com. People can go and find those 4 of the 5 webinars there for further review. And if you weren't able to participate in one, people can go and get them there. Of course, again, that Travel Recovery Insight portal is key. If you want to see which markets are recovering, which sectors might be applicable to your agency, that's a good resource as well to help you plan on. Doug, man, thank you very much for this catch up and reflection on our September fraud month and years to 2021. Hopefully we can do another successful fraud session.
Awesome. Thanks so much, and hope you enjoyed the webinar series this year.